Welcome to Weekly Gaming Blast. I'm your host, AkibanaZero.
And I'm Ruin the Gamer. Hello.
How's it going, man? You said you're
Yeah, I'm
in
not too
Brighton,
bad.
huh?
I am. I'm down in Brighton for the weekend. So there's a band that I really enjoy. We're playing Brighton for a fiver. So I was like, yeah, I kind of have to go.
Oh, awesome.
Um, and also it gives me time with my handheld consoles, which I don't have time for at home at the moment.
Well, that's the dealio with handheld consoles. You just get it all done on the go. I mean, it's
Of
handheld,
course.
right?
Yep. And a 3 hour train journey here and well there and back. That's more than enough time to get at least a few hours in.
I made some decent progress on my Shantae run on Switch while I was coming and going from Charlie's when we did the what's it called? The Outlast stream
I still need to
yesterday.
catch up on that. I've put it in my reminders to remind me to watch it when I'm back with decent internet again.
Uh-huh, I see. There's an interesting pair of feet right behind you over there.
There is
There is an interesting pair of feet, yeah.
a constantly moving pair of feet.
A moving pair of feet. Hi there, feet. How's it going? So, what
Yeah,
have you been
obviously.
up to? What new games have you added to your rotation this week?
I must admit, I haven't added a new game at
Uh-huh.
all. I've been continuing playing with I Am Setsuna, which is brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I have reintroduced a game that I stopped playing for a while back into the rotation. So I've started playing Dragon Quest VII again on 3DS.
Wow. Dragon Quest Seven.
It's a game. It's very, very, very JRPG, as in very cookie cutter JRPG. So basically, all I'm playing is JRPGs at the moment, which is interesting.
Wow, pretty cool. Very cool. I've
What
been
about you?
I've been working on Shantae, and I've also been playing a bit of the Monster Hunter demo on Switch, which is
Oh, XX.
yep,
How
XX.
is it?
Pretty good, I have to say. I'm really enjoying it. Well, I did play Monster Hunter X, and it was called Generations, I think, for the West, and I played 4 on 3DS, and I really absolutely love those games. Absolutely love those games, and I can't wait for Monster Hunter World to come out. But we're gonna
I
be
know
talking
that's in
about
our
that in a moment.
yeah, that's in our topics. So
Right.
interested to hear what you think of that, actually.
Yeah, but overall, I think that the port to Switch is actually looking really smooth, really good, and I think that yeah, people should be really hyped for this if they like Monster Hunter, or even if they don't. Like, the latest versions of Monster Hunter have been pretty accessible for newer players. So yeah, let's see how that goes. Right, onwards to the news, because this week has been a little bit dead news-wise, I think. But let's
Yeah, we're
jump into
getting
the light
started.
and fast of it. New Pokemon Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon news stuff, new locations, new Z-Ring, new clothes, new everything. How are you feeling about that?
I've never had that much of a love for Pokemon. Or well, I did back like back right properly back in the days, and I do usually buy the games. But Ultra Sun Moon, I'm not sold yet. It might happen, but I'm not sold yet. The only thing at the moment that has me a little bit ooh about it is the new Lycanroc evolution,
Mm.
the dusk form. Otherwise, it's just essentially a point 0.5 Pokemon game, and I tend to not be interested in those.
Uh-huh. So you said you're not that into Pokemon. Which version did you stop playing at?
Well, I did try Sun.
You did try
Um,
Sun.
yeah, I did try Sun, and I got a few hours into it. Like, I think maybe 8 to 10 hours, and I was like, "This is the same." Like, if once you get past the fact it looks different, it's the same.
That's true.
Uh,
But I mean, that's the thing about
and,
Pokemon. It's always the same thing, right? But with
mm,
more Pokemon and more things to do, and maybe some sort of story. But it seems a lot of people are concerned about this story aspect because the developers had an interview recently, and they were talking about how much they're looking into putting like more story into the Switch version of whatever mainline title they make
mm.
for Pokemon on the Switch. And that has a few people really concerned because story isn't really the big point of Pokemon. It's this idea that you're
Yeah,
on
I
an
agree. I
adventure,
mean,
right?
yeah, I agree entirely. I think with the Pokemon Switch game, concentrating too much on story may end up being to the detriment of the game.
That's true. I mean, if it's, I mean, and what kind of story are you actually going to make? Because this is meant for kids, right? I mean, a kid's story is not usually anything totally engaging to an adult. So how are you planning
Mm.
on making this engaging to an adult and at the same time appealing to a child? That's where the tricky point lies in. Right. So,
Yeah, that's very
Overwatch.
true.
Overwatch finally introducing a reporting system on console. I had no idea we didn't have a reporting system on console, but okay.
Do you play Overwatch?
I occasionally, if somebody is like, hey, you want to play some Overwatch, I will jump on my PC, because I have it on PC, and play some Overwatch with my terrible Lucio. It's my lazy mode sort of character that, yeah, I don't really need to do much but stand behind and just spam my heals, and that's it. And I don't really need to spam anything either because he just oozes healing aura. But yeah,
See, I don't play
you don't play
at all.
Overwatch.
No. Um, and if I'm honest, everything I've heard about the community surrounding it puts me off playing it in general. But by the sounds of things, this reporting system is long overdue.
Yeah, especially like because I guess I can understand how a reporting system might be a little tricky to make on console versus a PC. I mean, because it's not you're not running this on your own network, you're running this on a different network, on Sony's network. But this is a really big game, even though you and I don't play it as much. It's a really big game. It should have a
Mm.
reporting system, right?
Yeah, definitely, absolutely, definitely. I mean, that makes me think: does Street Fighter Five have a reporting system?
It Street Fighter 5? It doesn't have a
Hmm.
reporting system per se. It has like if you rage quit, you can like if you rage quit a few times, then you get like this icon next to your profile that says that you're a rage quitter. And apparently you get matched up with other rage quitters, so you get into rage quitting hell, I guess. I don't know.
Well, that sounds delightful.
Absolutely delightful. But yeah, I mean, it's a system, right? It's a way to do things. But yeah,
Yeah,
Overwatch finally bringing it to consoles, and I guess that community needed it.
yeah, definitely. From what I've heard, it definitely did.
Right. So we have a little bit of Dissidia NT news. You want to take that away?
Oh, I'm so excited. It's finally been dated. Dissidia NT has been confirmed by Square Enix to be launching on the 30th of January 2018. With the pre-order, I think the pre-order bonus on PSN is some backgrounds and things, so used pointless fluff. But if you pre-order the deluxe edition, that gets you the season pass with it, which I would have assumed would be it anyway. So the fact they're specifying that seems a bit dubious to me. Um, but yeah, 30th of January, and the beta starts next week
Next
as
week?
well. Hopefully, I'm still fingers crossed for a code. I
Me
really,
too.
really hope I get a code. But yeah, the 25th of August until the 3rd of September is the beta for Dissidia NT, and then the game launches in the 30th of January. I couldn't be more excited.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting news, and I thought it would come much later than January. To be honest, they said next year, and I'm like, oh, okay, so that's gonna be like what, spring, summer, so but yeah, January is really close ahead, and that's great. And considering that we've got a beta, fingers crossed, like you said, we get codes and shit. That would be nice. Please, I have a
Definitely.
YouTube
Yes, please,
channel.
Yeah, Square Enix, please. We'll stream it and everything.
We'll sing its
Uh,
praises for you.
and the good thing about it coming in January is that means that will be a kind of nice buffer now between now a kind of quite nice midpoint between now and Dragon Ball Fighters.
That is definitely a very good midpoint. Yeah, indeed.
So obviously with Under Night in Birth ST coming out this year, um, it'll be that, then into Dissidia, then Dragon Ball Fighters, and that's a really nice kind of spacing, I think.
That sounds like the fighting game year of Ruben.
Definitely. Anime Fighters, all the way.
All the way. All the way. Now, this next piece of news kind of... I didn't even know they were doing this, that they were bringing gold and silver Pokemon to the 3DS. Did you know this?
Yes, I knew. Yeah, it came out during... Did it come out during E3? Or was it a separate... It was either E3 or it was a separate Pokemon Direct.
If it was during E3,
yeah.
I guess it got hidden amongst the storm of news that Nintendo launched that
course,
that day, that unleashed that day. Like, Nintendo had a huge storm of E3 stuff. But they're doing boxed versions of it, which is... Wow. They're really going all the way with this reversion.
I mean, I must admit, I was actually, because when I was sorting out where the topics were going to go, I was going to put this in controversial. Because I think it is kind of controversial. Because in Europe, they're releasing boxed versions of Gold and Silver for 3DS that just contain a download code.
Oh, wait a minute.
Or at least that's what we've heard so far. The Japanese version sounds worth being boxed. But there's no confirmation that the European version is going to be the same. Because in Japan, in the box, you got stickers, you got a full-on wall poster that showed all of the Pokemon introduced in Gold and Silver, plus also in the bottom right-hand corner of the poster, which I thought was the most interesting part, was a full type breakdown of all of the Pokemon types and their strengths and weaknesses in a grid, which I thought was genius, because I always forget that stuff. And then the wonderful fridge magnet of the original cartridge design for either Gold or Silver, depending on which version you got, which looks amazing.
But it's still with a download code even in Japan.
Yes, it's still with a download code even in Japan.
But they give you physical stuff with it too.
Yes, of course, it makes it worth it. But Europe, we haven't had that version confirmed. So if it's just a box with a download code in it, that is supremely wasteful.
Wow, that is supremely wasteful, and I wonder. Well, they probably will include something, but I highly doubt it's going to be as worthwhile as the Japanese version, which is sad.
Yes, it is. It's really sad.
And I really like Gold and Silver because that's probably the one, which one did I play? I played Silver. Silver was the one Pokemon game I spent the most time on. Like, I just, hunted every monster on it. I wouldn't pay to play it again, but I'm glad they're revisioning this once more. I think it's one of the better Pokemon games out there.
But to be fair, if you did want to do it, I mean, if it follows the same pricing strategy that Red, Blue, and Yellow did when they were re-released on 3DS eShop, it will only be about £8.
That's fair. Yeah, that is indeed fair. Well, I don't know. I'll have to think about that because, yeah, too many games these days, man. Too many games.
Oh, definitely. Oh, yeah, I sympathize with you on that.
And here's a bit of a surprise kind of piece of news. Crackdown 3 delayed to spring 2018. Yep. Any Xbox fans out there or anybody who still owns an Xbox? Yeah, there's some disappointment.
Well, we'll see a rise in Xbox users when Xbox One X, my contender for best name console ever, launches. Obviously, there will be more Xbox players. But to be fair, I always, whenever it comes to a game being delayed, I always fall. My first thought is with what Miyamoto, I think it was Miyamoto, said about a delayed game being potentially good. Whereas a rushed game is inevitably going to always be bad. And Nintendo themselves have shown that in recent years. But if the game which comes out of it at the end is worth it, then the delay will be worth it.
I agree with that. I mean, delays are fine and everything, but I just feel like Crackdown has been this game that it's kind of like one of those games that everybody's just waiting for to come out, and it just never has so far, and everybody's still waiting, and suddenly there's another delay, and it can be a bit disappointing. But yeah, delays can only mean a good thing, I guess. Unless you're Yeah,
There
yeah.
has been times that there has been times. Obviously, that's not true. I'm not gonna say that all delays are worthwhile.
Mighty number 9 backers probably will say they'll say it's not worth it at all.
That was
I
the example I was going to
I'm
use.
I'm one of those people, man. I'm one of those people. Why? Anyway, moving.
Interesting segue there, though. Very interesting segue.
You think?
Well, the next topic we've got.
Oh, a couple of interesting Kickstarters. Yes?
Mm,
What's that all
yes.
about?
Uh, have you heard anything about either of these two?
Earth Romancer, no, I know nothing about it, but Resident Evil 2 board game?
Yes, made by the same people that, well, proposedly being made by the same people that made the Dark Souls board game.
Aha. I don't know nothing
Uh,
about the Dark Souls board game either, but yeah.
I've heard it's phenomenal. I missed it. I heard about it after it had already closed on backing, and I was like, ah. Um, but Resident Evil 2, quite easily my favorite game of all time. It being made into a board game, the moment that comes up on Kickstarter, I'm going to have a look, and it will probably be something I'll back.
It's awfully
Um,
curious how this is like they're doing Resident Evil 2. Like, has there been a Resident Evil 1 board game?
no, but if you think about it, Resident Evil 2 has the largest scope in terms of area out of the classic Resis.
That's fair. Yeah.
Because you've got Raccoon City, whereas in number 3, a lot of Raccoon City was blocked off. Resident Evil 2, you had a lot more of the city.
Mm-hmm.
Um, or actually, I think I've got that the wrong way around. But anyway, Resident Evil 2 is my favorite game anyway, so I don't mind the fact they've skipped 1. Although I think a board game set in Spencer Mansion would be quite cool.
Hmm. Yeah,
Um,
I think they would fit the Resident Evil 1 model as well, yeah.
mm. But Earth Romancer, it's something I've heard about very, very recently, actually. I think it's in the last 24 hours. The very last minute addition to this news list. Earth Romancer is a fighting game that's a kind of mashing together of anime fighters, so like BlazBlue and Melty Blood, and platform fighters, so like Smash Brothers, and just combining the two together to create a kind of like essentially a merger franchise, a merger genre between the two. And I've seen some early gameplay footage that's coming up on Kickstarter. I'm going to keep an eye on it because it does look very, very interesting to me.
So a marriage of a Smash and a anime fighter.
Yes.
I'll have to check out the videos for that. Definitely. That sounds pretty interesting to me as well. Sounds like something I could probably get into as well. Never got into a
Yeah.
Smash game, although I played a little bit, but yeah. We're having a really huge surge of these kinds of games coming out, so yeah, who knows?
Yeah. I honestly, I'm going to keep an eye on it because it does look completely up my street.
Right, so moving on to some controversial stuff. Life is Strange Platinum Trophy. Acknowledge and being rectified.
Yep.
Let me hear what this means. Platinum Trophy for the new Life is Strange. What does this mean?
Um, Square Enix, the trophy information for Life is Strange Before the Storm, the prequel to Life is Strange that was announced at E3, the trophy list came out. And a few people noticed that on the trophy list, there was a trophy that was essentially impossible to attain if you didn't buy the deluxe edition of the game,
Ooh.
which is terrible. That's really bad of Square Enix. Albeit, as I put in the notes, this has been acknowledged by Square Enix now and it's being rectified, but it should not have been a case in the first place.
That's wrong. I mean, what? That doesn't even sound like a mistake. It sounded more like, let's see if we're gonna get away with this. Nope, nope, okay,
Yes,
plan B.
yes, no, that's exactly what I thought. I could not help but think when this all came out, this looks like something they tried to get away with but got caught. This doesn't seem like an innocent mistake.
No, not at all. It's so blatantly obvious, too.
Mm.
Come
Because
on.
because the deluxe edition, the main difference between the deluxe edition and the standard edition of Before the Storm. Bear in mind, the reason I know so much about this is because I'm a big fan of Life is Strange. is the deluxe edition contains an additional scenario where you get to play as Max, the character from the original, in a kind of exclusive, in an additional story chapter, which no doubt Square Enix will release as DLC for the standard edition anyway. And also, I don't really like Max, so I don't care. But yeah, that's I was very irked when I heard about the Platinum Trophy thing for Life is Strange 2. Yeah. Well, not Life is Strange 2. That's also semi-confirmed to be being made, which I'm interested in too.
So this is not a Life is Strange 2. This is a prequel.
Yeah, this is Life is Strange 0, essentially.
Ah, okay. All right. I gets it. All right. Cool. That's great. Controversy and Sony seem to sometimes be going hand in hand these days. Sony is not allowing cross-platform play again for Ark Survival Evolved, which is coming out on the 29th of August?
Yes, that is true. Come on, Sony.
What the hell, man? What the hell? For me, this is pretty. It's particularly curious because they did it right with Street Fighter V, which is one of the only good things about that game, in my opinion, that you can play PC and PS4 together. But what's going on here? First Minecraft, then Rocket League, and now this?
To be fair, the reason why they allow the cross-platform play, oh wow, now I can't do it. Cross-platform play with PC is because it's not a threat to them.
That is true.
PC will always tick along with the consoles regardless. But the fact is, they're now starting to really stand out for doing this. Especially seeing as their reasoning is ludicrous. They want to protect their player base. Reasoning is absolutely ludicrous as a reason. But then again, I'm not expecting good reasoning for decisions from Sony because all you need to do is look back on what they said about not cross-platform, backwards compatibility. They are out of touch at the moment with what the gamers want. That
is absolutely true. Although, I mean, sometimes when it comes to the I don't want to get into a backwards compatibility discussion here, but the truth of the matter is that I feel like, okay, like don't make the games backwards compatible, but give us a way to be able to play these games on the console, even if it means we just have to re-buy the game or whatever. I don't mind buying some cool games that, from way back when, again, just to play them again, or maybe I've got some things backlogged and I'd like to play them on a PS4 instead of getting an older console. But when it comes to the cross-platform play, I'm getting very disappointed. Because
great.
We're entering a bit of an era now where it doesn't matter anymore what platform you're buying. Unless you're totally into the exclusives, you should be fine with any platform you buy, and that there's no reason anymore for us to be locked out of playing with each other.
Yeah, precisely. I mean, the result for me personally, I mean, I know this doesn't affect Sony or won't affect Sony, but what's happening now is if there's games that have cross-platform play, I'm buying them on another platform instead of buying the Sony version. So Minecraft, Switch. Rocket League, I'll get on Switch. I don't have any intent, because one problem that, I mean, all you need to do is look at, say, BlazBlue, key example here. BlazBlue is exclusive, or the most recent one is exclusive to PS3 and PS4. And just look at how low the player base is. If it was released on other consoles, I mean, I know that's an exclusivity deal, so that's a slightly different matter. But if it was released on different consoles and there was people on multiple consoles playing the game, there'd be a higher player base. And the same goes for Rocket League. There'll be a lot larger player base if you play the game online on Switch than there would be if you play it on PlayStation.
I agree. Yeah, and that's the advantage of having the cross-platform play, is that it doesn't matter anymore what you're buying. And that is kind of what they're tapping into, is like, we want groups of people to buy the same console, but that is such at this point it's becoming an archaic ideology. You can't market your console anymore like that. You have to market it with the idea that people want to buy what they're going to buy, and they just want to be able to play their favorite games with their friends.
Yes. Definitely.
And
Definitely.
I think they're also misunderstanding a lot of this. I think they're the main catalyst here right now is the Switch because they're misunderstanding the position of the Switch in the market, in my opinion, by doing something like this because the Switch fits the paradigm of a middle like how should I put this? More like a side console you have to just get your
Yes.
Nintendo fix and add some more, games, indies, that kind of thing. Now that there's going to be a lot of people with a PS4 or a PC that also have a Switch. And like
Yeah.
you, they're going to have this choice now. If I want to have this cross platform play, I'll go to the Switch. I won't go to my PlayStation anymore. And that's problematic for them.
Yeah.
But the one thing I did find very interesting because when Microsoft was talking and Nintendo were talking about Minecraft on both platforms, I noticed that on the Switch version that somebody said that you could actually log into the game by using your Xbox ID.
Yes.
Kind of in the same vein that you use your Facebook ID to log on to other websites. So I
Mhm.
foresee a future where, like, I'm definitely sure that Sony down the line will have to conform to this, or they'll just perish. There's no other way. I mean, the future is there, cross-platform play. I foresee a future where we buy a game and then we just log on with the account that we've used, like our PlayStation Network account or our Xbox account or our Nintendo account, and that way, cross-platform play will be possible with the IDs we already have.
Yeah.
So I see.
Which it would be great.
It would be great, and I'm pretty sure that's where things are going down the line. No doubt about it. Our basically out the networks that we are a part of in our main consoles are going to be like our main gaming social media network or whatever. Right. So finally, big and positive. I'll kick this off with Monster Hunter World's latest trailer. God, that game is looking absolutely amazing. Probably the best looking Monster Hunter ever so far. PS4 graphics and all that stuff. We got to see a lot of weapons, a lot of moves, a lot of monsters. We got a glimpse of what seems to be one of the hub towns in the game where you can do the crafting and the cooking and all of that stuff. But they also showed off one of the newest areas, which kind of looks a bit like a swamp area where you kind of have to walk through, like the swamp and the water and that kind of stuff. It just makes the whole world like, it's just like a totally different thing from what any other Monster Hunter so far. I mean, I'm really, really super hyped for Monster Hunter World, no doubt.
See, I'm just really glad to hear you so excited about something. Because me and Monster Hunter, we've never got on. So I have not been following Monster Hunter World, but I'm now, just based on your excitement, I'm going to have to watch that trailer after this.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool. And I mean, I don't know if I could take this as them showing off a new weapon, but I did see something in the trailer that did look like a new weapon. So if that is the case, that's going to be absolutely crazy, but I'll have to look at that again once more. But overall, like the game is shaping up really, really nicely. The graphics, like I said, they just look absolutely gorgeous. Like it's on a high-end console now, and that looks great. The game looks colorful. There's so many weapons and moves and stuff that you can do now, and you just go and watch it. I mean, it's absolutely
Okay.
worth it. Yeah, that
Yeah,
game is shaping up really
I'll
nicely.
watch that.
And I think it fits very nicely with with a home console paradigm. I mean, I like the idea of having the game on the go, but I when I'm thinking about online play because that's what Monster Hunter is all about. It's about, forming a team and taking down a big baddie. And it's
Yeah.
like a boss rush mode kind of game. And I feel like it fits better on a home console, which has stronger online capability. And you could have a lot more options when it comes to like, socializing with the team and all of that stuff. Could even have voice communication, which is something you didn't have unless you're using Discord or something on your 3D in parallel to your 3DS.
Yeah.
So finally, we've got
Well,
Gamescom coming up this week.
we do. It starts in 2 days, doesn't it? Well, it kind of launches tonight because Microsoft's conference is tonight.
That's like a pre-show, one of the pre-show
Mm.
conferences, right? Tonight.
It is indeed. Yeah.
So Gamescom is running from the 22nd until the 26th. So let's hear it from you. What are you hoping to hear from this Gamescom? Because it's usually you get some pretty big announcements from this show.
All of my intrigue for Gamescom comes essentially from Nintendo, because, well, hence the T-shirt. Because at the moment the other consoles are, well, the other developers, short of a Bloodborne 2, at which point I would essentially lose my shit forever. Everything I want coming from Nintendo. So what I really, really would like to see is I'd like to see a release date for Fire Emblem Warriors and Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
Yeah, that's definitely two things I'd like to hear. Xenoblade specifically. I'm not a big Warriors fan.
I'm a huge Warrior, especially the Warriors crossover games. I'm a massive fan of the crossovers.
Did you play the Gundam ones?
See, I haven't played the Gundam one. I kind of missed a trick on that. I need to go back and like catch up on that. But like the Dragon Quest one, I loved. Hyrule Warriors is possibly one of my favorite games that was on the Wii U. Full stop. And I've played Fire Emblem Warriors at a press event, and it was the only game I came back to more than once to play.
Oh. Well, I don't know. I don't understand the appeal. I played some of Pirate Warriors, the One Piece version. That was some silly fun.
It is silly fun. That's the whole point of Warriors. It's not supposed to be serious. So the fact that they've gone so long without doing really silly mashups like the Zelda one is really quite beyond me.
So you think the Fire Emblem one is not going to be as silly?
I don't think it's going to be as silly as the Zelda one, or as the One Piece one, or as the Dragon Quest one, because the Dragon Quest one was silly.
All right, I'll have to give that a go. I guess on Switch, it sounds like these games might be pretty cool.
Well, I'm pretty sure that Dragon Quest Heroes 1 and 2 are both on Switch.
It's called Dragon Quest Heroes.
I think so.
And that's supposed to be...
Or is it called Dragon Quest?
No
I think it is
idea.
called Dragon Quest Heroes, actually.
I'll have to have a look at that. I didn't know that it was this kind of game. I might have to have a look at that then. Oh well. Gamescom.
What about you and Gamescom?
Me and Gamescom. Well, I'm not really sure what I would look forward to right now. I think E3 just, completely blew a lot of stuff out of the water for me. I mean, if I want to hear something, maybe I'd like to see some kind of hear some kind of playable demo for Monster Hunter World, maybe,
Ooh, yeah.
or some maybe concrete release dates like for the games that you mentioned just now. Perhaps something, I don't know. I have this tiny little hope inside me that maybe Capcom might decide to share something about what they're gonna do with Street Fighter V in the future. Maybe make that game into a decent game at some point. I have to stop bashing Street Fighter V in this show.
I still reckon it will be end of Capcom Cup. That'll come.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Blizzard has a bit of a history of has a recent history of making some big announcements at Gamescom. I think it was at Gamescom where they announced Hearthstone, if I remember correctly.
So that'd be interesting.
Yeah, that would be interesting if they had something big to say, maybe about Diablo. I wouldn't mind hearing about a Diablo 4. I wouldn't mind hearing about maybe even World of Warcraft going free to play or something. But yeah, there's a lot of wishful thinking when it comes to Gamescom, but I have got nothing really solidly concrete at this point.
I mean, if obviously we both come up with rather wild things we'd like to see.
Yeah.
But I mean, just more information on a lot of games would be welcome, I think.
Yeah, mostly stuff that we heard at E3. I'd love to hear. Well, definitely looking forward to seeing more about. I'm pretty sure they're gonna be showing off stuff for Dragon Ball Fighters. They said they're gonna show off some new characters, I think.
So would that be the ones that were recently announced?
Yeah, I think it was some of the androids, I think, and
How did we not discuss this? Yeah, Android 16 and 18 were announced.
yeah, Android 16 and 18 were announced. There, I think those are going to be in the demo there at Gamescom or whatever they show off
Yeah.
there. So we'll have to keep our eyes peeled for that because yeah, there's a lot going on with that game, and I'm really hyped for it.
And also, don't forget that next week, no, it's not next week, it's the week after, is the sign-ups for the beta.
The week
Dragon
after.
Quest. Yeah, it's. I think it's the 26th is the sign-ups for Dragon Ball Fighters.
So we
for the
just go to the
beta, which
website and sign up, right?
Yeah, and I will do that immediately.
I'm just gonna be F5ing that shit.
Yeah, so
Let me in. Right. Okay, so that's gonna be it for this week's gaming blast. You got anything to share with the audience?
just the normal stream. It's still streaming Tuesdays and Saturdays. I didn't stream last night, but I did my Saturday stream on the Thursday because I knew I'd be in Brighton and wouldn't have streaming equipment. But on Tuesday I'll be continuing Salt and Sanctuary, which I can't believe I even stopped playing that game. It's such a good game. And there will be my finale for Shantae will be up tomorrow evening on YouTube, and followed by Doom Episode 4.
Awesome sauce. Great. Well, as for me, well, I've got my Dark Souls coming up this weekend. Like as of this video, it would probably already be up. Nothing much else. I did do that Outlast stream. We finally finished Outlast 2, and we were positively shocked by a couple of things we saw towards the end there. But yeah, I will leave a link to Charlie's YouTube at the end of this, in the description of this video, for people to check that out. Because we kind of shit our pants in a few instances.
I cannot wait to see that. I really can't wait. I can't wait.
Well, it's up already. You can go to her channel and check it out. It's right over there. I mean, yeah, we've all had had a nice run. We're now gonna think about what we're gonna do for our next cooperative stream with those guys.
Yeah, just honestly, I will watch the Outlast stream, and I'll probably comment on it as well.
And yeah, if you guys want to follow what we're doing, we've got our Twitters right underneath us, right over here. You can follow us. We also got all of our social media and our YouTube channels in the description of this video. And thanks everybody for following and watching. Give us a like if you're enjoying our show. Let us know if there's anything else you want us to cover. And yeah, that's gonna be it for this week. I've been AkibanaZero, and thanks for watching.
I've been Rue the Gamer. See you soon.